Good evening, everyone. Welcome. I'm so glad to see you all here. My name is Elaine Bordeo, and I am the board president of the Hispanic Leaders Network. I would like to welcome you to Hispanic Leaders Network Meet the Candidates. Conocer a los candidatos. I would like to thank you, our community, and all of the candidates for being present this evening. I would also like to thank Mighty Wind Worship Center for graciously hosting HLN's candidate forum. I'm going to ask a big favor before we begin. If you could kind of scoot in, if you have an empty seat by you, if you don't mind, scoot in so we can make more room. Today's forum will be available in Spanish. So if you would like English to Spanish translation, Dr. Ileana Newman will be doing that for us today, but you will need to sit where she is. There she is, right there, and she will be translating for you, so please stick with her. So we would first like to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance and then a word of prayer. Please stand and join me in honoring our country as I invite Pastor Watley, Senior Pastor of Mighty Wind Worship Center, to lead us in the pledge.
Okay, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. First and foremost, I want to welcome you here tonight. As she said, I'm senior pastor here at Mighty Wind Worship Center. My name is Pastor Darius Wadley. Just want to make sure you guys feel welcome, and we want to thank you for coming, because that lets me know that our community is important to you. And so we appreciate you guys being here and appreciate you wanting to better our community. And so I'm just going to pray, and then I'm going to get off the stage, and I'm going to turn it back over at this time, okay? Father, this day we thank you. We thank you because you are an amazing God. You are the God that created the institution of government. And Father, we're asking you tonight that for every candidate that comes forth, Father, we ask that their hearts would be revealed and that truth would come forth. I'm asking that you would bless every candidate and bless every person that is here. And Father, that the truth that we need to make our community a better place would come forth, and it would enable each of us to make the right decisions as we move forward. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Watson. So the Hispanic Leaders Network, also referred to as HLN, is a group of Hispanic leaders in the greater Waco community who are passionate and deeply vested in supporting current and future leaders. Our vision is to develop and empower current and future leaders to make a difference in our community. And our mission is to provide personal, cultural, and professional development opportunities to inspire Hispanic leaders to serve and make a positive impact. To ensure that our vision and mission are successful, HLN continues to host various events to encourage, inspire, educate, and support current and future leaders. HLN strongly encourages everyone to have a voice and vote, irrespective of what candidate they vote for. We also respect every individual's right to express their comments, opinions, and choice of candidates. A member or non-member individual preference of candidates does not represent the view of the Hispanic Leaders Network as a whole. If you would like to learn more about the Hispanic Leaders Network, please visit our website at www.hln-waco.org or visit our social media pages. So early voting began today, April 24th, and Election Day is May 6th. The Hispanic Leaders Network is honored to present Meet the Candidates. conocer a los candidatos. We are extremely excited to have had a great response from the candidates who were interested in participating in tonight's events. We actually have 14 candidates here today. Let's give them a hand. So Latinos are integral and a valuable part of Waco and McLennan County and the great state of Texas. 1 in 3 eligible votes are Latinos. We understand that in order for Waco and McLennan County to continue to be strong and prosperous, it is important that all voters make informed decisions about who represents them in making decisions that affect everything from public access to public education, to public higher education, workforce development, economic development, and supporting thriving businesses. Please join me again in thanking today's candidates for their willingness to serve our community. Now I would like to introduce our moderator for this evening, Gerald Villarrial. Gerald is a local attorney and partner at Dunnam and Dunnam LLP. His roots run very deep in Waco. In fact, I knew his father. Gerald has practiced family law, criminal law, and civil litigation for over 20 years. And he was voted by Waco Magazine as one of the best, and I mean capital B-E-S-T, lawyers for criminal defense and insurance law. Gerald is a wonderful person, and I think you're really going to enjoy his moderation today. So Gerald, I'll hand it to you, sir.
Elaine, thank you so much. Again, I'm going to echo just a couple of things that Elaine said for the candidates. Thank you all so much. The willingness to serve, your willingness to give of your time. Without you guys, we couldn't have the city that we have now and the city that we're going to have in the future. This is not the first time that I've moderated, but my wife made sure to tell me before I left the office, look, ask the question, shut your mouth, and let them answer. So that's what I plan to do. At this time, let's go ahead and get the candidates to go ahead and take your place on the stage, and we'll get going, and I'll go over some ground rules. All right, great. Let me go over a few ground rules with you. We're not going to be super strict, but we want everybody to have the opportunity to speak, to give your opinions, and let us know who you are. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to introduce themselves, state your name, the position you're running for, and how, if elected, you will make a positive difference. I'm going to keep a timer up here, and you should hear the timer go off. If not, once the timer goes off, or I tell you your time has expired, you'll be allowed to finish your last sentence. I will let you know when your time is up. To the audience, you may write any questions you have on the yellow card provided when you walked in. Please give your question card to Hector Sabido or Elaine Mateo. They will pass your questions to me. If you are participating via Facebook Live, you can use the comment feature to ask your questions. So let's go ahead and begin, and I'm going to call these in order and allow the candidates to introduce themselves, and we're going to start with the Waco City Council race, District 2. The incumbent is Alice Rodriguez. We'll give you your 2 minutes.
Thank you, Moderator Gerald Villarrial. My pleasure and honor to be here tonight. My name is Alice Rodriguez. I am the incumbent city council member. I have served in that position about 25 years, off and on, not straight, off and on. as I was called to come back. So it's always been my honor and pleasure to serve in a position that I love. If I didn't love doing what I did and do, I wouldn't be there. But I love my district, I love the city. My family all live here. My mother was born here. My daddy was in Devine, Texas, but he got here as soon as his daddy could bring him. But we have enjoyed working here and living here. And my parents and grandparents have a lot of volunteerism in the community, so I think it was passed on to me to carry the candle or the flag. My grandfather started the oldest Hispanic organization here in Waco, which is a Benedicta Sociedad Mutualista Mexicana de Jornaleros, in short, the Mojo. My father and uncles started the local LULAC chapter here in Waco. So we have been involved through my family, myself, following their footsteps. And it always has been a pleasure for me and an honor to represent District 2. Always wanting to make it a better place for my constituents, for my family members to live in. And I love that people say, I live in District 2 and I go to District 2 events. A lot of people here don't know the River Walk from the Convention Center to LaSalle is District 2. That is keeping me very, very busy right now. And we're starting remembrance for the families and Hispanic families and businesses that were there all along the River Walk. Growing up, I remember walking. I see you, Jared.
Your time.
Okay,
Want
thank
to
you.
conclude?
Just that part of town was so integral to the Hispanic people and community back in the day. I want to make sure that we get recognized, and it's going to be a beautiful boardwalk working along with Baylor University in the city of Waco.
Thank you, Alice. Also running for Waco City Council District 2 is Tiffany Vidana.
All right, my name is Tiffany Vidana. I've been a lifelong District 2 constituent and community member since I was born. So my mom and dad have lived throughout the district as well. My family has been here for many years. I'm currently a MSW grad student at Baylor, which focuses a lot on the community and the assets that it has to build. And I think South Waco is such a beautiful community that has so many assets, whether that be the rec center, whether that be the library, the clinics, everything is just so beautiful in South Waco. And I want to be part of the growth that South Waco is experiencing with the Floyd Casey development, having input on that. I just really love this community. I've volunteered in this community since I was about 12 years old through the Challenger Little League, No Limitations. I serve on the Animal Welfare Board along with different boards within the city of Waco. But yeah, I just love this community and I can't wait to see what District 2 becomes, and I just love this community so much. So thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany. Running for Waco City Council District 4 is Darius Ewing.
That's me. My name is Darius Ewing. I'm running for Waco City Council District 4. I previously served on the council in 2020 for a brief stint. A little bit about me. I grew up with two parents in the military, and after the divorce, I lived with my single mom, who was poor for a lot of the time, so we moved around a lot. And with that being said, you can imagine between being in the military and then moving around a lot, moving to Waco in 2012, the 11 years I've been here is the longest I've ever lived somewhere, so Waco is home and has been home for me for a long time now. My campaign can be summarized as such. I really want to work with the city to increase access to opportunities for success for all Wacoans. Whether you moved here last week or you've been here your whole life and you look around at the growth we're experiencing and feel like you haven't had an opportunity to access that, I want to make sure that we as a city are taking care of you and providing you those opportunities. I think practically we can do that through providing job skills training. I helped to start an organization called Upskill Waco that provides training for anything from electronics to medical office training to hotel and leisure services, so that we can take our neighbors and give them access to full-time, well-paying jobs To get to those jobs, we want to make sure they have reliable and safe transportation. So I want to take a lot of time, energy, and funding and work to revitalize and optimize our city's public transportation system as well, to take people from District 4, the core of our city, out to where those jobs are. Also, you can't really focus on going to work or getting a job if you don't know where you're going to lay your head at night. So as someone who moved around a lot as a kid, I want to make sure that we have stable and quality housing for our constituents as well. Partnering with Waco Housing Authority, who's doing really great and creative work there, and putting a lot of time and funding and effort into increasing our affordable housing stock, and partnering with organizations that allow for home ownership as well. And lastly, making sure that we increase access and improve outcomes for medical care in our community. We have phenomenal hospital systems here in town, primarily the largest one being Waco Family Medicine, who exists to serve our community at any level. And so I want to make sure that we partner with them to provide that and make sure that everyone has equal access to quality care in our city.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Also running for Waco City Council District 4 is Anthony Johnson.
Are we on? Oh, there we go. All right. My name's Anthony Johnson, born and raised in Waco, Texas. I grew up in District 4. My father was Dr. Jerry Johnson, the late Dr. Jerry Johnson, professor of marketing at the Business School of Baylor for 46 years. Very active in the community, was very much a civic person, very much involved in different civic duties and civic activities in Waco. I am a realtor at Bentwood Realty. I graduated from Waco High in 1998, went on to Baylor University, got my degree in business, then went back and got my real estate degree. So I've been with Bentwood Realty since 2014. Very involved with the city myself, very active in Chamber of Commerce in the past, very active in Rotary. Our Rotary Club meets downtown. Very active in the downtown area. It's actually my first time to Mighty Wind. I remember when I was in high school, Reverend Carvajal was the pastor here, and he was a man who was very active with the youth and with our community. So again, thank y'all for having us. My positions on District 4 are pretty much basic. I want to bring our law enforcement back up to full strength. We're down 40 officers right now. We're very concerned in our district about our streets being safe, our small businesses being protected. If we don't have an adequate law enforcement, we don't have safe neighborhoods for our kids to be raised in and for our businesses to thrive. Also, I'm very active, very concerned about our infrastructure. We're very behind on things like sidewalks. We've got to continue to repair roads. Our sidewalks are in bad condition. Our lighting is not very good throughout District 4. So that's definitely something I am focused on. And also, I am focused on our budget to make sure we're not wasteful spending on anything. I want to make sure that we're spending our money on things that really matter to our district. And so I appreciate you guys for being here again tonight and for hosting all of us candidates. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Also running for Waco City Council District 4 is Don Gray.
Okay, thanks for having me tonight. My name is Don Gray. I run for City Council District 4. So my mom was born in El Paso. My father was stationed there, and that's where they met. I was born in Northwest Arkansas. Well, not originally from Texas, but I got here as quick as I could. I've got several degrees in electronics, networking, computers from TSTC, and a bachelor's in chemistry from Baylor. Martial artist, ham radio operator, and I play a lot of disc golf. My priorities, so quality education and high-paying jobs. Also, I've heard from different constituent groups that a common thread is the problem of food insecurity, and I like the idea of community gardens. We have some, but I would like to see more. And that's about all.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, we're going to move over to the candidate for Waco ISD School Board Trustee. Running for District 5, we have Abbie Ramirez.
Thank you. My name's Abbie Ramirez, and I'm running to serve as your District 5 representative. on the Waco ISD School Board. I'm a proud product of Waco ISD and of this city, having graduated Waco High School and Baylor University. Shortly after receiving my degree in business and concentration in marketing, I joined Waco ISD, and as a former employee there, I worked there as a former employee, what I believe is some of the hardest years the district and the field of education has seen, especially the aftermath of COVID and the effects that we still feel today. A little bit about me. So I believe those perspectives as an alumni, as a community member, and along with my commitment to improving our schools is what makes me a strong candidate, but I also kind of want to touch on why I'm running. And that's because I know firsthand the impact that a board can have on its students and staff. I've always said that every personal and professional success in my life can be boiled down to a moment at Waco ISD and or a teacher or staff member at Waco ISD. So I feel like I had this calling to now it's my turn to give back to my community. I want to make a positive impact on our student success but not just our student success, but our staff success, and also make a meaningful impact in our community. I believe education, again, I boil things a lot down, but if you take any almost issue in the city, can be boiled down to education. And so that's what I want to focus on in order to lift up our students, our staff, and then the community.
Great, thank you so much. Also running for District 5, Waco ISD School Board Trustee is Mr. Jim Patton.
Buenos tardes. Soy Jim Patton. I am happy to be here tonight. I want to first start off and let you know that allergies are killing me right now, and if I start coughing, I'm going to walk away so I don't disrupt anyone else with their time. I have committed my career to Waco ISD. I am a retired teacher. I've been an assistant principal. I've been a principal both at North Waco and at South Waco. And upon retirement, I've continued to volunteer for Waco ISD. I have mentored, I have tutored, I have done special projects for the district. I've helped with UIL, and just a little side note, a team that I have helped coach is going to National History Fair in June to Maryland. They came in first in state last weekend, and it was a big deal for these 7th grade Tennyson kids to do this research project and perform it. So I'm very proud of that, their work. I've served on multiple boards in Waco and at the state level for both gifted and talented and for educational purposes, as well as serving here in Waco for civic needs such as CASA, to help children who are pulled into foster situations and to provide a voice for them on their behalf. I firmly believe in Waco ISD. As I said, I've given my professional career to this district and plan to continue. Lord willing, as long as I can, I will be here and I will be knocking at doors and asking for help and seeking to hear the needs of our community. I'm an experienced educator and I want to hear those problems because I want to be part of the solution.
Time.
Thank you.
All right. Also running for District 5, School Board Trustee is Ashley Stone.
Hello, I am Ashley Stone. I am originally from Lubbock, Texas. I moved to Waco about 8 years ago to take care of my elderly grandparents. My grandmother had dementia, and my grandfather ended up having a nasty fall and had to have surgeries. And growing up, they told us to make sure we don't ever let them go to a nursing home. So I packed up my little apartment in Lubbock, and I came in and moved in with my grandparents to make sure that they were both able to die at home as they wished. I have 2 children in Waco ISD. I have a 3rd grader at Parkdale, and I have a 7th grader at Tennyson. I am the owner and founder of Footprints Dance Company, the creator of the Mr. and Miss Juneteenth Scholarship Pageant, where we give out $5,000 in scholarship money every year to McLennan County juniors and seniors. I also founded the Anchors Away Girl Empowerment Program, where we make sure that girls have access to hygiene products and resources and things that little girls need. I am a paralegal. I have been one for 13 years. I work for a personal injury firm out of St. Louis. I get to work from home. They let me go home during COVID, and that was the wrong thing to do because I haven't left since. And so I have a job that allows me to do that, but being at home has allowed me to be in Parkdale and in Tennyson a lot more over the last year and a half, and I've gotten to see some things from students, from teachers, and from my own kids, and that is where this passion came from. I hope to improve parent involvement and communication. I hope to create some access to more mental health resources for the kids and the teachers, and I just overall want to make sure that our district is more safe for these children and these teachers. Right now, a lot of people in our district are surviving, and that's not what you're supposed to do in school. You're supposed to thrive, and so I want to make sure that happens. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we also have District 7, Waco ISD School Board Trustee. The incumbent is Angelo Ochoa.
Okay, thank you for having me. Thank you for having us. Thank you for hosting this Mighty Wind. Thank you all for being here. I know this is probably the last place you want to be on Monday night. I've got to apologize because I do have to leave. My son has a birthday today, and I'm a father and a husband before anything else. I ran last year to fill in the last year for Carrie DeQuee's seat. I taught for Waco SD for 9 years. All my family's taught, teaches. A quick story, while I can tell it, is when I left, I worked for Central National Bank before I started teaching. And when I would run into old clients, customers that I would work with, and tell them that I was working at University High School, I would get that reaction of like, ooh, like, that must be rough. And that always bothered me. So I felt like I would be doing my students a disservice by not telling that person all the great things that were happening in Waco ISD, all the amazing programs that the kids get to be a part of, all the amazing teachers that I worked with, and I still feel that way now. It's important to me that we all become advocates for Waco ISD. It's not hard to find someone who's quick to point out all the things that we could be doing better. But in the end, it's our community, and these are our kids in these classrooms. It doesn't matter what part of town they come from, who their parents are, how wealthy they are, how poor they are, they're all our responsibility. And it's not a responsibility that I take lightly. Thanks.
Thank you. We also have running in District 7 for School Board Trustee, Dr. Peaches Henry.
Hola, ¿cómo está? Yo soy Peaches Henry. I am running for the school board because I would now like to bring all of the efforts that I have been bringing to the school board from the outside to the inside so that I can do the hard work in this school district. I have a lifetime teaching certificate for Texas. I have taught in the public schools. Currently, I am teaching Waco ISD students as dual credit students as a professor at MCC. I have 30 years of teaching experience. I have been working in the school district from the moment that I arrived. That's in 2004. I have served on PTA executive councils. I served on campus decision-making committees. I have served on search committees for principals, advanced placement directors, assistant superintendents. I serve on numerous boards around Waco, the Dr. Pepper Museum Board, among others, and I have run a number of programs for school children here in Waco ISD. I can number on one hand the schools that I have not volunteered in, because I have volunteered in the high schools, I've volunteered in all 5 of the junior high schools, and I have also volunteered in many of the elementary schools. I want to bring all of that experience to bear as part of the team in Waco ISD. There are 3 areas that I want to focus on. I want to focus on academic achievement. I want to make sure that we help our children recover the learning that they lost during the pandemic. I also want to help recruit and retain teachers in Waco ISD, and I want to engage our parents and our community who are absolutely devoted to this school district. And so I am asking for your vote to be able to do those things. I promise you, I will work hard for our children.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move over to the MCC Board Trustee Election District 1. We have Incumbent Jonathan Hill.
Hi there, my name is Jonathan Hill, born and raised in Waco, Texas, currently serving on MCC's Board of Trustees for the District 1 position, which I was appointed to in February and now running for re-election for a full term. I am an alum of MCC. I went to Bosqueville High School as well, just down the road, but went to MCC Tarleton through MCC's university program, and then on to Baylor University, where I've now worked for the last almost 8 years in various positions, currently in marketing communications. Serving on the MCC board has been a great thrill and honor for me. I see a couple of our board members here tonight, and I want to take a moment to brag on our board. No offense to our colleagues here, but I think MCC's board is about as well run and maintained of a board as you'll find in the county, and something to be very proud of. And I think that that's reflective of the college itself. MCC was truly a gift to me in college. It was a gift to get me through with second, third, and fourth chances. That is an experience that I've heard was shared by many students that I've talked to throughout this process. And so since we're in church, I just want to give you all 3 quick points. And this is kind of what I built the campaign around. Number 1 is to be patient. I think as everyone else on this panel is dealing with in their own areas of concentration, MCC is building back from COVID just like everyone else, and we're seeing those numbers trend up. But we're working every day to get those numbers back, enrollment in faculty and staff retention across the board. Number 2 is to be present. My goal from the beginning has been to show up for MCC every chance that I can get. That means showing up for every board meeting, every opportunity that I can to represent MCC. And then finally is to be proud. I'm very proud to be an MCC alum, and I love sharing that story and sharing MCC with anyone that I can. So.
Thank you so much. Also running for this seat, MCC Board Trustee District 1 is Arash Abnoussi.
Good evening. 2 minutes to start now. I had to write stuff down because I don't want to miss anything. So you see me look down and look up. My name is Arash Abnoussi. I am running for the District 1, McLennan Community College, District 1 Board of Trustees. I am a proud public educator. For the past 20 years, I've served proudly all the Title I schools in the area, Central Texas. I was born in Corpus Christi, Texas, and was brought up overseas, abroad, in a non-English speaking family. So I came to America and learned English at the age of 23, which takes me to the why that I'm running for McLennan Community College. My own hurdles, my experiences prepared me to better understand and the ups and downs of what other peoples may go through. I firsthand experienced that. As a minority student, I saw through the lens of how much of a barrier different factors would play, but I also learned how to overcome them. I want to carry over my passion for education to higher learning platforms. and not only be a voice for diversity and inclusivity, but also for our low income, our first generation, and students who need support in these uncharted waters. I'm a proud graduate of MCC Alternative Certification Program back in 2005. I'm honored to have climbed up the ladder in education, from teaching classrooms, being an instructional specialist, to teaching at Baylor University in the School of Education, and also now serving as the president of the Texas Council of Teachers of Mathematics. I was elected last year. It's the largest organization in the state of Texas. We have about 5,000 members, and I'm honored to be a president of that council. And I want to just end it that's here. I don't know how much time we have, but I just please grill me with questions later on. Don't let me go without you asking questions, because that's where I can just probably provide you with some more clarity and elaboration. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll move over to District 3 MCC Board Trustee candidate Ilda Sabido.
Hello, I'm Ilda Sabido. I'm running for District 3 for Board of Trustees for MCC. And I'm a wife, I'm a mother, and I'm also a community volunteer and have been for many, many years. Whether it was volunteering with college students or in the community as a part of different boards. I've always wanted to put my best foot forward in representing our community the best way that we can, making sure that we have every opportunity to grow, to educate ourselves, to bring ourselves forward. I currently work at McLennan Community Investment Funds. We are a small business provider. We provide small business loans for the community and education, and as working in that area, I've learned that education is so important at any level. And a place like MCC that offers so much in a variety at different times, works with your schedule. If you just want a certificate, you can. I mean, the variety of education that you can get at MCC is incredible, and I just want to be able to continue that. I love the partnership that they have currently with Waco ISD. I would love to continue it and see how we can grow and make sure that the disparities that currently exist in our community don't exist anymore, and that everyone has a chance to education and not be overwhelmed by it. We can do more. There's always more to do, and I would like to continue that. Thank you.
Thank you. We also have running for MCC Board Trustee District 3, James Sorelle.
Before I start talking about myself, I want to thank HLN for having this forum and for inviting us all to be here. And I'd also like to thank Pauline Chavez, who held this district seat for 37 years, I think. Had she run again, probably would have held it for another 6 years. But she has been an important member of the District 3 community, and I'm hoping that I can do something to continue that operation. District 3, as is true of many of the districts, the MCC districts, is very demographically diverse, and the goal for whomever represents this district is to represent everyone in that district. And I think my background in higher education, retired Baylor professor in the history department, and longtime board member of the Heart of Texas Regional History Fair. So we probably crossed paths before, Mr. Patton. But at Baylor, and I think there are people in this audience who can attest to this, I spent most of my career focusing on the importance of our students understanding the world around them and understanding that not everyone looked just like them or acted like them. There were a number of very diverse programs at Baylor that we worked with our students to try to get them to understand their world a little bit better and from different perspectives. That's certainly something I would bring to the MCC board. My entire educational career as a student was in public education. I'm very committed to public education, higher public education. The MCC, I think everyone knows this, in Waco is a gem. There are so many opportunities, whether it's continuing education or the degree programs, the workforce programs, that can benefit everyone, whether or not they are seeking a degree. If you want to go to MCC and have an affordable, and excellent education, that's a good place to go. And I think the board can help do that, and I'd love to help with that.
Thank you. All right, we're going to shift gears now, and again, I'm going to remind the audience that if you have any questions that you want to ask the candidates, if you'll write them on the card and give them to Hector and Elaine, and they'll bring them up to me. We're going to change the format just a little bit. No longer will you have 2 minutes, you're going to have 1 minute to answer the questions, so we can get as many questions done. We're going to start with the first question is going to go to the Waco ISD candidates, and I'm going to start with Abbie. Would be the first person, so I'll give the mic. The first question is, school safety is at the top of the list of concerns for parents. During this current school year, one of our local high schools seized 4 handguns within a 2-week period. Most of the middle schools are seeing daily fights, classroom disruptions resulting in loss of instructional time. If elected, what are some specific action items you are going to address regarding school safety?
Does it start when I start talking, or when?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're not gonna, I'm not gonna be that sick.
Just wanting to process, I mean, school safety, not just for our students, but our staff is a priority. And so I believe that there's a root to every issue. For example, 3 out of 4 school shootings are, there was warning signs. So I would definitely promote mental health resources, ensuring that we create a school culture that is not only encourages but promotes trust between the students and the staff in order to talk to each other. I believe these communication with our community, our parents, if they know what we're doing in the school district, then there's not gonna be a chance for rumors and or lies to reach them first, right? We need to reach our community first. And together we can work on that safety for our students.
Thank you so much. I'll ask the same question of Mr. Patton.
School safety is one of my legs in my platform. I believe that building a culture within a school is extremely important. That starts with teachers, but it really, really starts with your administration. If they are tight and tough on discipline, if they make sure that the students are aware of consequences, you will have a safe school. You don't have learning occurring when students don't feel safe. And I think that culture of safety really starts with the administration and goes through the teachers to the students with cooperation from the families and the students that go there. I ran an alternative program for a year while I was an AP, and we had no problems because the first thing that I did with the kids that were coming was lay out the rules and let them know that I was going to be fair, but I was going to be extremely consistent.
Time, sir. Thank you. Ms. Stone?
Yes, so school safety is number 1 on my platform. The things that I would do, my action items, number 1, we need to reestablish respect in relationships between our teachers and our students. You can see that lacking. If you've ever, you probably don't know, but you can go volunteer at Tennyson during the passing periods to help because it's just that out of control. We have to reestablish those relationships with those kids. We have to instill respect, and we have to get to the root of the issue, which a lot of the times mental health and behavioral issues. And so my biggest thing would be to make sure that those mental health resources are accessible to our kids and our teachers, while helping promote and build relationships and respect.
Thank you so much. Ask the same question to Mr. Ochoa.
Thank you. So I'll talk fast because I only have a minute. A lot of the questions that probably I won't get to, I'm looking around the room, almost everyone has my phone number. Feel free to call it. Feel free to use it anytime you like. As far as behavior, that is a very difficult question to answer in 1 minute. One of the students that did find the gun said that it was for his walk home when he gets off the bus. It's easy to say Waco SD has a problem with violence and with guns in schools, but it is a community issue that we all need to solve together. We are implementing as many safety standards as we possibly can. We're ahead of the TEA as far as what they are expecting schools to do. We implemented we have metal detectors in Tennyson, Waco High, and at University High School. Clear backpacks are going out district-wide, not just in middle schools and high schools next year. Oh man, I'm just nervous and I'm running out of time. But I can't stress enough, it is a community issue that we all need to be involved in. It's not something we can push off and say this person needs to solve it or the school district needs to solve it. It's going to involve pastors, it's going to involve community organizations, it's going to involve parents, and thank you.
All right. We'll ask the same question, Dr. Henry.
Thank you. Back in August of 2021, a number of community members, including myself, came to the school board and asked them not to remove the behavior specialists from the schools. And we did that. And that causes us to be unable to think about and work on the root cause of some of what is going on in the schools. We have children and indeed teachers who are traumatized. They are traumatized by a number of issues. They are traumatized coming out of the pandemic, having lost people to death. They are traumatized in seeing young people such as themselves who are being funeralized. And so we do have a mental health issue going on in the department. From the perspective of a school board member, the first thing that I would work to do would be to bring back some of our behavioral specialists so that they can work with students and restore them to the classroom.
Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to move over to the city council candidates. We're going to start with Alice. We'll start with you. According to the 2020 census, the city of Waco's Hispanic population is 31%. However, when you look at the city's organizational chart, there is very little Hispanic representation at the top level management. If elected or re-elected, how will you address this lack of representation?
Thank you, and thank you for that question. I have asked that of our city staff. And the question and the answer that I give is, we send out, like all the cities in the state of Texas, there's places and magazines and newspapers that we send out that we have a job opening. If we don't apply, we can't help you. So that was that answer. But now, as a city council person, I also know that in our applications, they are redacting. So when we look at them, city council hires only 4 people: the city manager, city attorney, the secretary, and the municipal court judge. That's all the city council hires. But as we're looking at their application, they have now redacted the name. They have now redacted their ethnicity. So when you're looking at their application and their resumes, you have to go just by what's on the application of their education, their job record, or whatever. So that's going to make it even harder for me as a council person to look for Hispanics. But they're always saying our Hispanics are not applying for the job.
Thank you. Ms. Vidana?
Yeah, so my answer to this question is being proactive. First of all, most of the job listings are not bilingual, so that's an issue. We're missing a whole population of people right there who speaks only Spanish, so that's a way we can get Hispanics in these jobs. And like Ms. Rodriguez said, you know, the city council does have a hiring process in which they, it's like a blind hiring process where they redact the name and ethnicity, which makes it a little more fair, so you hire on qualified candidates versus on who you know, your last name and stuff like that. But I think we need to be more proactive about connecting with our chambers, connecting with the community, because we have a lot of leaders and a lot of people who can apply for these jobs that live here in Waco. We just have to be proactive in finding them.
Thank you. Mr. Ewing, same question?
Yeah, as I sit here in 2023, I'm currently the only person that's ever represented District 4 that is not white. And so representation has always been a big part of why I seek to run and what's important to me in seeing people of color in high-ranking positions in our city. Specific to our Hispanic population, I think that it's incredibly important to have representative city staff and city council for the population. And I think that as Ms. Vidana said before, you know, being proactive is really crucial. And I think that it's true that the squeaky wheel does get greased. And so the longer and the louder that you're banging on the door and saying, you know, we need to make this a priority, we need to revise our practices, we need to spend a longer time. You know, if we can take 6 months to find someone for this job, and we can take a little bit longer than that to find the right person that's going to be representative of the community that they're serving.
Thank you so much. Same question, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, I think it's mainly kind of looking at how we go about hiring people, what's the process, who are we targeting, what's the position. It's really, to me, it's about looking for the best person for the job. It really doesn't matter to me as far as, you know, who you are, where you're from. I mean, can you do this job? Are you qualified? Are you educated to do it? And so definitely a lot of networks out there that we can turn to find the most qualified people, and definitely when it's something we need to look at when elected to be on the city council.
Thank you so much. Same question, Mr. Gray.
So diversity is important, but I think the right qualifications are the most important thing. And I think to get those, the most important thing is quality education. And so if for advancement, that is my recommendation to anyone, is to pursue more education. And that's, again, part of the leg of my platform is improved education and job opportunities.
Thank you so much. We're going to move over to the MCC board candidates. The first question is, if elected, and this is going to be for Mr. Hill, if elected, what would you bring to the MCC board in making the school successful?
Yeah, I think part of that is just building on what we've already been doing. You know, I've been on the board since February, but that is a lot of meetings, that's a lot of opportunities to learn and to grow. And personally for me, it's just going to be to keep working alongside our administration, our faculty and staff to make sure that we're all moving in the right direction. And we have tremendous alignment, I think, across all of those levels of ensuring that the needs of faculty and staff are met, that the student experience includes wraparound care, and that the administration is able to respond and answer the needs that we're hearing from all of those various constituents, to make sure that MCC students are not just welcome there, but that they are successful as well. And just providing that wraparound care is a priority.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Abnoussi.
Yes, sir. So what I would bring, I'll bring 20 years of serving public education, knowing where the trend is going. And that's during the 21st century, sometimes I feel like we haven't quite caught up with what our kids need. That's application-based workforce. When you come out of MCC, what are the expectations? What are we going to do? Are the degrees that you're getting really going to help you grow financially? Is it gonna be something you're gonna really understand that it didn't cost you a lot, but now you successfully can make a living out of it, just like myself, that I'm living on that because of MCC. I'm making a career, I made a career. Staff are important. Are they valued? Supporting his staff, supporting his students. But at the same time, looking at the education in a more individualized basis. The enrollment is down, but why is it down? COVID may have impacted, but also at the same time, do I see a purpose in education? What am I going to do with my degree? How am I going to make money when I graduate? Those are the things I feel like I am able to bring because of my years and years of experience in public education, and I'm excited about that. I'm excited. I feel confident. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Sabido?
I think what I would bring is my perspective, both as a Hispanic woman, a woman of color, and also a millennial. There's just a different perspective you have. The needs of the students and what they're looking for in education, what they're looking for to better themselves is different, and there's no denying that. So I think my perspective and knowing what our students are wanting, or knowing more so what they're wanting, being in the community, knowing that affordability, education, nobody wants to be in school anymore and be in debt for the rest of their career. They want to quickly pay that off, and that's why I think MCC is such a great option, because you can get your 4-year degree, you can get your certificate, whatever it is that you want, you're going to be able to get and not be in debt forever.
Thank you. Mr. Sorelle?
Yeah, one of the other things about that is having access to scholarship funds and the whole funding operation. House Bill 8, that's currently in the Texas legislature, is setting up a different matrix for funding community colleges. I think right now MCC is going to benefit from that funding operation. But the key is to make sure that the students at MCC are graduated, that they are going through degree programs and then transitioning hopefully to 4-year schools, whether it's through the University Center or to other 4-year institutions. And given my background in higher education for a long time, I've worked with those institutions, I've worked with those structures, and I think I can do that on the board as well.
Thank you so much. We're going to move back to our city council. This is a question from the audience. Currently, Waco is experiencing a great deal of growth. However, housing is becoming less affordable and in less stock. What is one way you hope to address this? And we'll start again with Ms. Ramirez.
Housing has always been a problem for District 2, and I'm talking about District 2 right now. We've never had the opportunity to build more homes, but there are funds and grants from the feds for affordable housing. We're having a development right now, what we all recognize as Floyd Casey Stadium. There are going to be 255 homes there, I believe. But they're all going to be mixed income. They're not all going to be high end or low end or medium end. They're going to be a diverse mix of income housing. Hopefully, our people will be able to acquire grants or loans, their own personal loans from banks or whatever, to be able to afford to buy those homes. That's one thing that myself and my city council members stress all the time to staff. We want affordable housing, not low-income housing. We want affordable housing. There's a big difference. People don't like low-income housing. So now we say affordable housing. So we're stressing to staff, we want affordable housing. So this is the first opportunity for District 2 to have new affordable housing coming up.
All right, thank you so much. Ms. Vidana?
Yeah, so speaking on the Floyd Casey development, it's not affordable for South Waco at all compared to our income levels that we have in South Waco. More people 75% of the population make below $50,000. That's not going to be affordable for any of our South Wacoans in our District 2. It's sad that we did not think about the people that it directly impacts right next to us, the neighborhood that is directly going to be by Floyd Casey. So we need affordable housing, but we also need housing for low-income people. That's what the majority of our district is. So if we're not serving them, how are we ever going to build a community that they're proud to live in, that they're proud to be part of? They have no place to call home right now. And we also need to focus on revitalization of the neighborhoods that we have in Waco. Waco is so rich in communities and neighborhoods. We need to focus our resources toward those, whether that be roofing through like grassroots and stuff like that, or other city funds.
Thank you so much. Mr. Ewing?
I could talk about housing all night, so I'll try and be as concise as I can. I think there's a twofold approach. You want to make sure that people are educated with the opportunities that exist to allow for them to have access to subsidized housing as they need that until they can get on their feet and obtain housing outside of that. We also need to educate landlords to let them know that, hey, if someone comes with a Section 8 voucher, it's not a bad tenant. It's somebody where half your money's coming from this place and half your money's coming from somewhere else, and that's the only difference. I think we also need to focus on developing affordable housing that people can buy at the median income level in our city to increase homeownership, increase community involvement. And I think that, you'll hear me sing the praises of the Waco Housing Authority a lot when I talk about housing, because I'm such a fan of McLennan and all the work they're doing over there. And my mindset for that from the city standpoint is find who's doing this really well and what are we as a city, if not a funding arm, and go and fund that and partner with them to make sure that we can push these things across the finish line to provide what our citizens need.
Thank you so much. Mr. Johnson?
Being a realtor, definitely all about home ownership. That's something I always encourage to my clients is how important home ownership is to not only community or neighborhoods. Studies show that home ownership increases the quality of neighborhoods. So one of the big problems with real estate right now is really an elephant in the room, and that's property taxes. Property taxes continue to go up, and up to where we can't even afford to stay in our homes, even if we purchased one. And so one of the things I'm looking at doing is cut our taxes, figure out what we're spending money on and what's causing these taxes to go up. And that's a big part of my agenda. I personally can't stand property taxes. I think it's theft. I think it's ridiculous to continually tax somebody for what they own or what they make. And until we abolish the property tax in the state of Texas, which I encourage everybody to contact your local state representative and senator to do that. We're gonna have to figure out ways to keep that the growth from going up and up. So,
thank you so much for that answer. Mr. Gray.
So I like the idea of the mixed income properties that have seemed to come out of all these recent deals that involve the city. And more than that, so there's not much on the city level we can do about the buying power of the dollar. But again, with the education and good jobs, and I'll agree with Mr. Johnson, lower taxes, that will open the door for more opportunity for more people to own homes and live in nicer homes.
Thank you so much. We're going to move back over to the school board candidates. Children are struggling after the pandemic with both emotional trauma and academic shortfalls, and I think some of you touched on that just a while ago. What is your plan to more fully support our children with behavioral and educational attainment? And we'll start with Dr. Henry.
As I mentioned earlier, we definitely need to bring back behavioral specialists in the classrooms so that we have people who can teach children how to handle and control their emotions and then be able to be restored back to the classroom. That requires that we bring back restorative justice. We have restorative justice programs at some of the campuses right now. We do not have it at all of the campuses. So I would bring back social justice programs, restorative justice programs, so that we can help children learn learn how to handle their emotions so that they can go back into the classroom. I would also interject that it is not only the children who are suffering emotionally, but it is also the adults. And by the adults, I mean their parents as well as the teachers. I've spoken with teachers, and teachers are having to deal with a lot right now. And so if we can get emotional support for them, we will also have it for our children. And then both our teachers and our children will be able to work toward academic excellence, and they will be able to recover what they have lost.
Thank you so much. Ms. Ramirez?
So one of my platforms is not only providing more, advocating for more student resources, but also magnifying on the resources that the school district already has. I think academic success isn't just bound to the classroom walls, and I believe providing wraparound services that are adjacent to education, right? We have a great partnership with the Waco Transit to get students to school, partnering with food banks to get them hungry, like if they're hungry, and maybe, you know, that's what it comes down to, that I don't think every issue is face value. We need to go deeper into what our students need, and that's also outside of the classroom. So I believe that would help.
Thank you. Mr. Patton?
Sure. Again, I believe that building the culture within your school is going to help make students feel safer. I do agree with wraparound services, and one specific service that, as a principal, really helped my campus was communities and schools. We had a social worker. I have a cough drop in my mouth, sorry. We had a social worker on campus. So when kids needed clothes or families were in need, that translates into your campus climate. The communities and school representative went out, helped the families, helped the students when there were problems. And it's those kind of wraparound services that make a community whole. And especially after COVID, when, as Dr. Henry was saying, when people have died in your family, there's grieving and needs. And kids come to school looking for their teacher to be able to handle it all. And as a professional educator, you sometimes aren't equipped to do that. Where those wraparound services are so beneficial for your students, and that impacts your climate, which I absolutely believe impacts the safety of your school.
Thank you so much. Ms. Stone?
Yes, I believe we should outsource some of these resources for mental health. There are so many amazing nonprofit organizations that are fully staffed that we can reach out to, that can help the kids, that can help their parents. They have access to social workers who can help with things such as food or rights or whatever, you know, those needs are. And, you know, and one thing, you know, that I hope to see in the future, Waco Family Medicine was phenomenal with my son and his diagnosis with ADHD. And we tried everything. But Kim at the MLK Center, she's a miracle worker. I love her to death. It was PCT therapy, an hour a week. And it was absolutely incredible. And I think that more people should be educated on services such as those at our community center that we have, and that the district partner with Waco Family Medicine to kind of usher some of that in, because it was such a godsend for me and my family, and I know it'll be for more people.
Thank you. This is going to go to the candidates for MCC. This is a question from the audience, and we're going to start with Ms. Sabido. As an MCC student, I do not feel safe in the classroom. Our campus feels open to everyone to come in. How can we improve safety?
I think that's an ever-evolving topic, that especially for college. I mean, it's a little bit more difficult in colleges than it is in high schools, obviously, because of the campus structure is very different. But I think communication, keeping the kids in communication, making sure that we have all of the security measures intact, so where if there's something going on campus, that everyone is immediately notified by cell phone, by text message, by alert, just like you would any other weather or other emergency. And also drills. Unfortunately, we're in a world that doesn't show it's getting any better. So those drills to make sure that students know what to do, teachers know what to do in those cases, and how to hunker down to be protected.
Thank you so much. Mr. Abnoussi?
Yes, sir. I agree with a lot of things our friend you said right now about safety on campus. I mean, when we look at public education K-12, you mentioned drills being important. We seldom practice those in a higher ed. We take it for granted. It's more like an open campus. I do go in the evenings to run, and I feel pretty safe, but I can also understand the concerns that our students have in the classroom based on what's happening. But I will also listen to the advice of the people who have more knowledge and see what are some of the options out there that we can use and make things better. I'm not an expert of security, but I'm willing to listen and to take notes of what are the best practices, whether it takes us to go back to K-12, talking to superintendents of Waco ISD or the surrounding schools to kind of model some of the things that they're doing could be beneficial to our students. The McLennan Community College, I will use definitely those measures and listen to some creative ideas to approach it.
Thank you so much. Mr. Sorelle?
Yeah, the campus police is very important, and my experience at MCC is that they circulate widely around that campus, and I know there are also opportunities if someone is on campus at night, as so many MCC students are, that they can call someone for a ride to get them to their cars. I think we as a board, in terms of facilities development, need to make sure that everything is well lighted, that there are call phones available readily in all the buildings and even on the outside areas of campus. And I think those are ways in which MCC has taken steps toward that, and there's probably more that should be done. If students do not feel safe, then they're not going to come. So that's very important for us to take note of.
Thank you so much. Mr. Hill?
Yeah, I think certainly moving forward, anytime we're looking at construction or renovations of new buildings, security is going to be part of that consideration, and will continue to be so. And I think when it comes down to what we can do short of any kind of physical reconstruction or renovation, I think it comes down to education of first responders, continuing to educate the law enforcement that would be responding to those situations, and making sure that as a campus community that we are following best practices of, are our exits and entry points identified, and are those secure in a way that is going to make sure that in the event of an emergency that, we're covered there. And I think from a student standpoint, that orientation process that MCC has invested more and more into is as students are coming on campus, we're trying to educate them more about the campus experience. I think that's a tremendous opportunity to really seek out some of that feedback of if there are security concerns, let's figure out what they are and address them.
Thank you so much. It looks like we have time for one more round of questioning, and we're going to go back to City Council, and Alice, you're not going to go first this time. The city of Waco, this is for the City Council. The city of Waco has developed many parts of our city over the last decade. However, most of the development has occurred in West and East Waco. If elected, what will you do to ensure economic development is taking place in predominant Hispanic areas of our city? Example given, LaSalle Avenue corridor, the North 25th Street corridor, Franklin Avenue, etc. And let's start with Ms. Vidana.
Yeah, so I think this is a great opportunity to partner with programs like Prosper Waco, Grassroots. They do surveys all the time on what should be happening on the 25th Street corridor along with LaSalle. I think a big thing about developing those corridors is making sure we keep the heart of those corridors the same. So let's make sure we're not pushing out the locally owned Hispanic businesses on LaSalle. Let's make sure their community input is valued and taken into consideration when developing LaSalle. The same thing goes to 25th Street, making sure we get that input and run with it instead of just ignoring it and developing stuff anyway.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Ewing?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that. I would say, you know, I've driven down North 25th Street as a way to get to and from, or really from downtown back to my home for, you know, the last several years. And it really serves as a welcome to North Waco on that side, and it's vibrant and it's got its own culture. And I think that, you know, it's important the city has a hand in partnering with the community to make sure that what happens there is good and beneficial for the community. We can do extra work to make sure that TIF funding is funded there. We can do work to make sure that people are educated on facade improvement grants. But you know, mostly I think it's advocating and making sure that we're bringing the community in on these decisions, hearing from them first, making sure that they feel heard and they're a part of what will become of that space because it is their home and their community. And if you go back to my first city council meeting in July of 2020, I proposed an overlay study of North 25th Street to find a way that the city could provide funding there.
Yeah, thank you so much. Mr. Gray?
So yeah, I want to see development all around this city. And, you know, I agree that, you know, local input is probably the most important thing. I personally, Jimmy Darrell, the founder of Church Under the Bridge, owns that little block off of 15th Street, not too far from, I think it's Colport, and several businesses around there, the theater, the market, and I really am impressed by that sort of vision for neighborhoods where, you know, he took resources that were already there, abandoned, dilapidated buildings, got them fixed back up, and now it's a hustling, bustling little neighborhood with a market and things to do. So if at all possible, I'd like to see more of that around Waco.
Perfect, thank you. Mr. Johnson?
Yeah, definitely. I'm all about development all throughout Waco. I live near 25th Street. I'm really impressed with what they've done there. I mainly want to, and I've emphasized this before, I want to make sure that our infrastructure is in place. I want to make sure we have good roads there. We want to make sure we have a sewer system is good. We want to make sure there's good lighting. We also want to make sure there's, like I said, protection. We want to definitely have law enforcement in all areas where there's small businesses. That way they can thrive and do business once they do open, and everybody feels safe to come and hang out and have a good time. And so I was going to say, and with the city, definitely make sure that there's infrastructure in place and make sure that there's no issues in regards to that. So.
Okay, thank you so much. I want to go back to Waco ISD. Oh, I'm sorry, Alice.
That's all right, you're used to me being first. As far as development in East Waco, it has been ongoing for quite a while, and it's been a long time coming to East Waco. We're trying to, as a city council member sitting on the diocese and listening to staff, the development in East Waco is good for the entire city because people will be working at the hotels and the retail that is being developed there in East Waco. South Waco, District 2, as I mentioned before, the Riverwalk is in my district. There's going to be a lot of retail. There's a parking garage that's going to go there, and it's going to have retail under the parking garage. That's economic development and jobs. Also, again, at Floyd Casey Stadium, what we're looking at is putting retail all along Valley Mills side so that people that are passing through Valley Mills we'll see the retail. That provides jobs as well. And infrastructure will be there. When we tear up our streets, that's why it's taken so long. And just so that everybody knows, every street in the city of Waco is scheduled to be fixed. So hold on.
All right, thank you so much. Let's go back to the Waco ISD candidates real quick. And this is from the audience. How can you encourage community organizations to reconnect with Waco ISD schools? And let's start with Stone.
So I love food, and I actually went out with a Miss Felicia Garrett. She has a nonprofit here in Waco. So food, go out and have barbecue at locally owned businesses here in Waco. And she really told me about what they do, what they can offer, how many people that she has on staff, other organizations like hers, which prompted me to go and look up and see kind of what we had available in regards to mental health, because that's one of my biggest things. And so partnering with people, you know, entails going to meet them, sitting down, breaking bread with them, talking about our needs and listening to what they have to offer, but also our school board creating policy to implement these relationships so that we can utilize and outsource these services.
Great, thank you. Let's go with Ms. Ramirez.
Can you repeat the question again?
Yes. How can you encourage community organizations to reconnect with WISD schools?
So this, I'm going towards, this is not just for the organizations, but I think for the people of Waco. And I know it has probably a bad connotation in Spanish, but be chismosos. You know, to me that means, so it translated, it means be nosy. If you have questions for the school district, call us. If you have a service that you want to provide as an organization, call us. And if you feel like we're not addressing that service that you can provide, let us know, because I think that's one way. That's a little bit of my uncle kind of tells me a lot that, oh, you just want to be chismosa, that's why you're running. And at first I was a little annoyed because, again, it has a bad connotation. But to me, it's like, yeah, I want to know what's going on in our schools. And if that means I have to run for our schools, if that means I have to ask these questions, and that's how I want to support community engagement from y'all and also organizations.
Thank you. Mr. Patton?
Yeah, there we go, okay. Yes, I agree with both these lovely ladies on our stand. I believe that the district had at one time a very active Adopt a School program. And through the Adopt a School program, we were constantly, the district was reaching out to new businesses, new opportunities to come in and partner with schools. And for the longest time, Kate Metz was the director of Adopt a School Partners, and she's well known to the community. It takes a lot of work to coordinate that. And I would love to see more Adopt a School opportunities going to each school, because you get your own partners, you build at the school a relationship with those businesses or with those organizations, and it becomes a two-way street. Not what can you give to me in my school, but what can we do together? What kind of opportunities can my students have for job shadowing or for working a day in your office with you? And the same thing comes for tutoring, working back and forth. Adopt a School program is a really, really dynamic program when it is employed correctly.
Thank you. Dr. Henry?
One of the things that I have done for years is to engage with the community in Waco. Waco has a community that wants to engage. It will be up to the school board members to invite this community back into the schools. And to do that, we have to reach out to them. We are uniquely positioned in Waco because we have a large number of retired educators who want to work in the schools. Those people have the skills that we need to work with our children to recover the learning loss that they've had. In addition to that, we have civic organizations who I literally just got a text yesterday, someone asking, when are we going to do the Hidden Figure STEM program again? So I have people who are waiting to do that. And I have a 3-year plan for community engagement. And if I can get your vote to get on that school board, we're going to implement that 3-year program to get the community back into the schools.
Thank you. That was our last question for the evening. First and foremost, can we please give all of these candidates a round of applause? As I said earlier, I want to thank each and every candidate for your participation today, but not only just today, but participation in the whole process. It's because, again, like I said earlier, because of folks like you that we have the city that we have now and the city that we're going to have in the future. It was a pleasure serving as your moderator today, and my goal was to try to let you guys talk, not me talk, and with the exception of forgetting Alice one time. Again, I wish all the candidates the best of luck. I'm now going to turn over the program to Dr. Liz Palacios to give us some closing remarks.
Thank you for serving as moderator. Didn't you do a great job? Yes. And I want to just reiterate, thank you for being here tonight and willing to participate, letting us know more about you. Thank you, audience, for being here, for your care and commitment to our community. We really appreciate this. Pastor Watley and our just thank you so much for you and Mighty Wind Worship Center for hosting us and providing for refreshments as you go and meet our candidates. At this time, I'd like to ask our candidates to please report to the 3rd floor in the fellowship hall where our folks can get to meet with you. And thank you again very, very much. We do have an elevator as you exit the left. There is an elevator if you need one. So again, thank you so much. Can we have another applause for our candidates? So, just a few reminders before you go. Today, early voting started, so make sure to go vote. May 6th, Tuesday, is our election day. So remember, things come up, so vote early and make your voices heard. And then I've got another announcement. Let me just turn my page. On Thursday, May the 4th, the Hispanic Leaders Network is hosting our very first fundraiser. It'll be Latina night, and they're going to have some wonderful, authentic dishes, music from different regions from Latin America, and other festivities. All of the money that we raise goes to very important community projects, such as we have a monthly luncheon where we invite others to come, and we have very inspirational speakers and hosts and experts to come help us with how do we help our Latino, just our Latino community, and how do we help all of our communities to grow. Another program is the Community-Wide Language Equity Initiative. This is where we are able to provide translations for meetings and documents. This is going to be big because we'll have trained translators. And last, but my most favorite, I think, is the money that we raise as well goes to our program called Navegando Mentorship Program, where we get to work with Waco High and University High school students. They're amazing, they're wonderful, and there's so much to invest in them. So with your help, your support, we can raise money to make a difference in this community. So please go. You still have advantage for an early bird registration, and you can find a promo code for Churro 2023 HLN is Churro 2023 HLN, and you can visit our website at hln-waco.org or come to our social media and Facebook. Again, this is going to be fantastic, so please join us. And I just want to say again, thank you so much for being here, listening, and I encourage you now to go meet our candidates. Remember, there's an elevator to your left.
Thank you. Good night.
And thank you for your work on the MCC.